Alright guys, came back here at the Battler Workshop. Well, I've got a little job I want to try and do over this Easter long weekend, and that is to move my high power lathe from this side of my workshop and remount it on this side of my workshop. And the main reason for that is, in this bay I want to put a workbench. And above the workbench I want to put some cupboards. So I've got a blank wall here that I can mount cupboards on, as opposed to this side where I have a window, which makes it a little bit more awkward to be able to configure cupboards around. So it's probably going to be a lot easier to get the lathe over this side. And the other reason is down the track I do want to get a bigger lathe and mount that in the middle of my workshop, and I can put a cupboard over here to share the tooling between the two lathes. So that's the task for this weekend, but before we do start, I've got to make up a lifting jig to be able to lift the lathe from its bed, which is how we should always lift the lathe. Not from the headstock, not from the tailstock, we'll only damage it. We need to lift it from the bed. So I've got to put a support plate down the bottom with a studded thread and a lifting eye on top that I can use my brother's engine crane to lift from. So got a bit of stock in the lathe at the moment to make a start. So let's have a quick look at the drawing and go over what we're going to be making up, and we'll make a start. Alright guys, we'll see you in a tick. And here's the drawing showing basically a general arrangement of what we're going to be doing, with the support plate underneath, a couple of nuts, jam plate on the top with a nut, and our lifting eye attached to a fabricated nut. So that's the details there of what we're going to make up. So it's an M30 thread that we're going to put through that for the stud that I've got, and we'll fabricate up a lifting ring or a lifting eye with a bit of 16mm black bar, and then we've got the jam plate and the lifting plate to make up as well. The weak link in this, when I ran the numbers, will be the diameter 16mm black bar. It's a 250 megapascal tensile strength steel, and with one diameter it's capable of lifting around 5 tons. So we've got two diameters here, so that'll lift a maximum of 10 ton, and we'll put a safety factor of 5 on that. We'll bring that back to 2, so I can use that for the high power lathe, which does weigh around about 850 kilo. And if I do get a bigger lathe, it's probably going to be around 1.5 tons to 2 ton. So I can use this jig for lifting on and off a truck or a trailer. Alright guys, as I said, we've got a bit of stock in the lathe at the moment, so let's make a start and we'll get into it. Alright. Alright guys, this is one of the joys of moving. I've got everything stacked in the boxes. I've got 5 of these big tubs, and whenever I want anything, I've got to try and find out which box it's in and then dig it out. For example, I'm after a drill out here, and this was right down the very bottom. So I've had to drag everything out. I've had to do that with all my boring bars and my turning tools and all my bits and pieces, so yeah, a bit of a pain. Anyway, we'll keep going. Okay, like everything guys, this design's subject to change. I was looking for a fairly large threading bar that I've got tucked away somewhere, and do you think I can find it? I can't find it anywhere. I've pulled everything out of boxes. So in the absence of that, what I'm going to do is just drill a through hole that the stud, the M30 stud will fit up inside. And then I'll just put a couple of nuts on either side of it, lock that in place. So it can slide up and down, and as I said, it'll be the nuts that'll be taking the load. I did want to thread this, it would have been a good little exercise, but in fact I've got everything packed away and I can't find the actual tool that I'm after to do the threading. We'll go for plan B. Righto guys, so here's our change. I've got my stud steel here. This is an M30. This is high tensile. How do I know it's high tensile? Many years ago when I was working for a company, we were making up some lifting gear, and this is one of the spreader studs. And when the job was finished, those got thrown out. So rather than seeing them thrown out, I grabbed them. So M30 high tensile, and that's capable of around about 40 tonne. But I had to go into my local nuts and bolts place and buy some nuts for it. So we've got those. So what we're going to do here is we're going to weld on our lifting ring. So I'll need to fabricate that up, and I'll put a jam nut on that side there so it actually locks it in place. So that'll do the job nicely. A little bit less work than having to worry about trying to cut the thread. Anyway, it would have been a nice little exercise, but yeah, a bit hard trying to find the tools at the moment. All right, let's get into forming up this diameter 16 black bar, which is going to look like this, as we said. So I've got to make up some jigs to get that formed up. All right, guys, we'll see you in a tick. Alright guys, that's finished off. I'm really pleased with how that has come up. Plenty of weld on there. Back when I was a young apprentice, I remember one of the old boilies telling me that for every inch of a 1/4 inch fillet, it can handle a tonne. So if I go by that rule of thumb, this shouldn't have any issues. Alright, I'm going to get onto that with a flapper wheel and just tidy up all the spattery slaggy bits, and we'll get these holes bored out for the plates. don't know what happened there. I've lost a fair chunk of my footage. Alright, I've moved the lathe, but I thought I'd quickly show you how this all assembled up. So we've got the top jam plate, and what I've done is I put some MDF underneath here just to protect the bed of the lathe when I clamp it up. And underneath, I actually had to move the stud a lot further towards the headstock to try and counteract that out of balance arrangement. So I've got a 40mm chock underneath there where the bed changes shape. You can quite see that. And underneath you can see the lift plate and the stud with the nut underneath it. So it worked extremely well. Alrighty, the next video I'll get some shots of the actual move, and wasn't straightforward what we got there. Alright guys, we'll see you soon.